Hello, Mayor Pro Tem, members of Council, Adam Smith, City Manager's Office, here with a presentation on the American Rescue Plan, covering a budget appropriation, authorization of full-time equivalent employees, and delegation of select ARPA contract authority. The recommendation is that the City Council, one, approve a budget appropriation recognizing $16.2 million in federal grant revenue and appropriating $48.2 million for the council-approved city's American Rescue Plan Act funding, or ARPA, of projects and programs that will respond to COVID-19 pandemic, address its economic fallout, and lay the foundation for a strong and equitable recovery in the city. Two, adopt a resolution approving an amendment to the classification and salary range resolution for a senior project manager classification to implement ARPA projects. Three, adopt a resolution approving an amendment to the position control resolution to add 4 full-time equivalents or FTE employees to implement ARPA projects. And 4, adopt a resolution delegating contract awarding and executing authority to the city manager for non-public projects funded in whole or in part by ARPA that exceed his current authority. A little background: on March 11th of this year, President Biden signed the American Rescue Plan Act into law. That law has allocated funds to cities, counties, and states throughout the country. And the city has been allocated $59 million in direct federal grant revenue from ARPA from the U.S. Treasury. We've received half, about $29.7 million in May of 2021. The remaining $29.7 million is expected to arrive in May of 2022. And it's important to note that the funding is a unique and rare opportunity, almost once in a lifetime, for the community. On September 21st, 2021, Council deliberated and made final decisions on ARPA projects. This was after, of course, July 13th Council committee meetings, where staff went to all 3 Council committees, the July 29th City Council meeting as well. And on August 4th, staff went before the Inter-Neighborhood Council Organization meeting to discuss the ARPA projects. The initial total ARPA project investments that Council selected on September 21st total $48.2 million. And that's in attachment 1 of the staff report. It's important to note that ARPA costs must be encumbered by December 31st, 2024, and all projects must be completed by December 31st, 2026. Moving on to the budget appropriation that's attached to the staff report. Staff recommends that Council approve the budget appropriation in the amount of $48.2 million for 72 projects that Council selected at the September 21st City Council meeting. This appropriation paves the way to allow ARPA funds to be used to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, address its economic fallout, and lay the foundation for a strong and equitable recovery in the city of Oxnard. As indicated by staff on September 21st, these projects, many of these projects, are Tranche 2 projects and won't start until next fiscal year. Moving on to the full-time equivalents employees. Due to the ARPA project deadlines of fund encumbrance by December 31st, 2024, and project completion by December 31st, 2026, many of the ARPA projects that Council selected will likely cause delay of many of the city's currently funded projects. And that's because there's challenges that exist with current staff workload and project capacity, especially in the engineering division of the Public Works Department. It's important to note that U.S. Treasury's preliminary ARPA guidance states that recipients may use funds to cover the portion of payroll and benefits employees corresponding to time spent on administrative work necessary due to COVID-19 and its negative economic impacts. And additionally, the city manager has the authority from time to time to revise the number of positions or recommend to Council the creation of new or additional positions under new classifications as conditions and needs change in the administration of the city, which is what we're doing tonight. Currently, Public Works Engineering Division is managing over 100 funded capital projects. With ARPA added, Council added approximately 40 new projects, which results in a 40% increase in project management workload for the division. So staff's recommending that 2 new senior project manager positions be added to the existing division structure to directly manage the complex projects and provide oversight of the existing project managers that will be working on the ARPA projects, and the hiring of 1 additional construction project coordinator, which will assist with the public project bidding process and the project coordination and documentation that comes along with ARPA projects. Attachment 5 to the staff report lists all of the Public Works ARPA projects that would be aided with this enhanced staffing. The current division staffing level consists of 1 supervising civil engineer, 5 project managers, 1 senior construction inspector, 4 construction inspectors, and 2 construction project coordinators. So the new staffing that's requested will truly help the division in reaching our goals to start and complete these ARPA projects on time. The new senior project manager position will receive a yearly salary between $89,000 and $147,000 a year, and the construction project coordinator will receive a yearly salary between $52,000 and $81,000 per year. Moving on to a FTE for the city manager's office, staff is also recommending that the city manager's office receive an additional project manager to handle the complex and quarterly expenditure reporting requirements of ARPA, as well as directly manage a few ARPA projects. This new project manager will also serve as a staff liaison between the city manager's office and the other departments in the city that are currently working or will be working on the ARPA projects. The new project manager position will receive a yearly salary between $74,000 and $124,000. Attachment 6 to the staff report lists all of the city manager's office led ARPA projects that would be directly aided by the additional project manager. The delegation of contract authority per City Code Chapter 4, which governs the city's purchasing and contracting procedures, that limits the city manager's procurement contract awarding and execution authority to $200,000. As the city continues its recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, staff is now recommending that council delegate some of its procurement contract awarding and execution authority by resolution that's attached to the staff report to the city manager for projects over the $200,000 authority. This is a narrow and tailored carve out that will ensure that select ARPA projects are streamlined to move at a speedy pace, meet those federal deadlines that we always have an eye on, and deploy much needed support to the community. The delegation of authority does not affect bidding requirements or process. Nothing changes in that regard. Most importantly, the delegation of authority does not apply to construction, reconstruction, erection, alteration, renovation, improvement, demolition, and repair work involving any publicly owned, leased, or operated facility, and the rental, lease, purchase, or license of real property. The city manager will be reporting back to the city council with routine, semi-regular updates on ARPA project progress during the city manager's report section of future city council meetings. The ARPA projects that are covered under the delegation resolution are these on this table here. We have the gratitude program for $2.5 million, premium pay for city employees, $2 million, community assessment to determine transitions to adulthood among Oxnard youth, $300,000. Visit Oxnard, the city's Visitors and Tourism Bureau, $436,000. Sports park community outreach, which won't include any construction, but it will be $1.5 million. The Main and South Oxnard branch libraries, $830,000. The downtown, $775,000. as well as implementing outdoor venues in the downtown, 250,000. There's some asterisks next to items 34, 36, and 37, which indicates that if any aspect, as we begin these projects, if any aspect of them exceeds 200,000 in any type of construction costs, then the authority that we're discussing tonight would not apply to those aspects of the project. Finally, we have a permanent outdoor patio program fund for restaurants in the city, 2.5 million. The fire department, equipment purchases, no installations of supplied air respirators and multi-band radios, 1 million. Senior nutrition program at 1.7 million. A harbor area water quality feasibility study for 350,000. And finally, a youth apprenticeship readiness accelerator for 300,000. The youth apprenticeship line doesn't have an item number. You can see on the left there, it says new with 2 asterisks. And that is because that item was listed or was added rather by council members during the September 21st City Council meeting. The financial impact. The city has been allocated 59.5 million in ARPA. We've received half, and it has been deposited into a federal grant revenue fund here in the city. The remaining 29.7 million, 50% is expected in May 2022. The fiscal year 22 budget that we're in now included 32 million in ARPA federal grant revenue. Approval of the recommended action tonight will recognize an additional 16.2 million in grant revenue, bringing the revised total grant revenue budget to 48.2 million, which is the 32 million that was adopted in the fiscal year 22 budget, plus the additional 16.2, which equals our 48.2 million, which is the amount of ARPA projects that will be deployed. The action will appropriate the 48.2 million to those projects that council selected back in September. Staff went through and assigned a project number to each specific ARPA project for those ever important and quarterly federal reporting reports that we will have to submit. We will be going back to council in spring of 2022 for council to begin selecting additional projects that will total 11.3 million. Finally, just want to finish with the recommendation again that the City Council approve the budget appropriation, recognizing the 16.2 million in federal grant revenue and appropriating the 48.2 for the council approved city's ARPA funding of projects and programs that will correspond to the pandemic, address its economic fallout, and lay the foundation for a strong and equitable recovery in the city. 2, adopting a resolution approving an amendment to the classification and salary range resolution for the senior project manager classification to implement these ARPA projects. 3, adopting a resolution approving an amendment to the position control resolution to add 4 FTEs to implement the ARPA projects. And 4, adopting a resolution delegating contract awarding and executing authority to the city manager for non-public projects funded in whole or in part by ARPA that exceed his current authority. And with that, that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.